I had intended to do the installation of the braces for this video, but the relative humidity in my shop is way too high to do that. So what to do? Well, I'm going to be needing some binding down the road here, so that's a good project to do when my shop is in a situation like this. Actually don't need to do it for the Jake build. That's going to be a walnut body, and I think that this curly maple here is going to look really nice. I made this up in a batch a while ago. I have 4 pieces left. I'm not going to be binding the fretboard on that job, so in that case these 4 pieces are going to do fine. I've already put some black veneer on the edge, which is going to make a nice separation between the white and the brown, and that's going to be fine for this one. On the all spruce, I've got a white body, and I've got that Goncalo Alves rosette. In this case, I'm going to be using the same material for the binding, and here's a nice piece. It's got a nice quarter sawn on this face, dead flat sawn on this face, so I'll get the shine, the flake out of it, as well as the curl here. But because that's going from white to the brown, I don't think just a black veneer is going to do well there. I'm going to use a combination of a white maple veneer and a black veneer, and I'll just go through that process with you now. Lots of different jigs that you can make for this. A simple straight edge to cut the veneers would be fine. This one's just a piece of plywood with some screws at each end to hold this 1x1 piece of aluminum in. The aluminum straight edge is really strong in the back and forth dimension here, and it's really low. It makes it easy for me to get my razor knife in here. I'm going to go ahead and make a cut here at about 2 1/8, which is, I don't have to be really accurate on this one because it's got to be just a little bit oversized as well. I'm just going to clamp this down at each end, and I've learned that this, especially this particular black veneer that I have here, it's got a dominant grain to it. It wants to grab my razor knife and take it along the grain. And it's hard to see where that grain is because of the black dye. So if I just take a light cut, I mean just barely, first time through, the wood doesn't have the strength to fight with the knife. And then I can go a little bit harder the next time. It actually came up at this end. And I get a much straighter, much nicer cut than trying to take the cut all at once in one pass. This straight-grained maple is a whole lot more forgiving, but I still use the multiple pass technique. Cutting the veneer to length is really easy. I'm just going to use the end of the stick that I've got here as a straight edge and score across the grain, and then lift it up. It breaks right off nice and clean. This is about the only time you're ever going to see me use some of this sort of material. Best glue for this application. The Titebond 1 works well. This works a little bit better because the bond stays together through the heat cycle when I'm going to be doing the bending. And it's just a little bit better for that. Not anything I'm ever going to want to take apart, right? So here is, I've done this on both sides here. I've got laminations going on both sides. I'm going to have to do this real quick and in one take because as soon as I moisten one side of the veneer, the other side's going to want to curl. So I've got this taped together, a little hinge action sort of thing here. I'm going to attempt to do both sides at once this time around. And so I'm going to, this one's just barely stuck at on one side, and I'm going to lay out some of this marvelous waterproof glue and spread it out evenly. Now, flip the veneer over. just like that, got a nice little black-white purfling on my figured binding, and a whole lot more for other guitars, and probably going to use it for the fingerboard on this one. See you next time.